What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color. Wanted to do a quick video for you guys about Lionsgate's Steelbooks. I saw a video by Mid-Level Media here on YouTube, great channel as well, physical media channel that I love to watch. He did a video about Lionsgate Steelbooks and how people aren't really loving what they've been putting out this year so far. They used to be like one of the best studios for physical media for the last 3 years, and lately people haven't really been excited about what they're doing. So he recommended several releases that he thought would get people excited again, get people excited to start buying their stuff again.
Because they have a big catalog of stuff that they could pull from.
They do have a good catalog, and I was inspired by that video, and we're gonna do the same kind of thing. These are gonna be more films that like we just really like, that we would love to see. If any of these were released from Lionsgate, I for sure would pick them up. I love the Lionsgate Steelbooks. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about these very specific, like if you've ever seen one of these, you know what we're talking about. These have a very specific look. They're the ones that really kicked off the whole slipcover over the Steelbook thing. So they've got these Steelbook slipcovers. The slipcovers are translucent, but then you'll get part of the Steelbook, or part of the slipcover that stays when you peel it off, and it kind of reveals stuff underneath. My favorite of these has got to be the Ran one. Like this one is just beautiful. Yeah. Love this one. Ugh, that's crazy.
And just, great wraparound art and really like...
Yeah, they put a lot of work into them. They made it really worth it. Like this is the most recent one I picked up. This was actually from this year, the Cutthroat Island one. So yeah, these are just really fun. And I love these, and a lot of collectors love these. And we have some movies that were distributed by Lionsgate. You actually found out that Summit was bought out by Lionsgate.
Yeah, so I don't know how long ago, but Summit sometime, I guess it's still around. It produces the films, and Lionsgate will distribute them. So
thanks to you for finding that, because I did find some on the Summit list that I really love and I want to talk about. So we're just going to go through, throw out about 5 movies, go back and forth, and just movies that we would love Lionsgate to put out some really nice Steelbook releases of. Let's go ahead and jump into the list. I'll let you go first, and we'll just go back and forth.
Okay, so are you ranking yours?
Not really.
Okay, my first one is Gods and Monsters. It's again early Lionsgate, 98, and it was actually won an Oscar. It was up for some Oscars. So it was kind of a big awards contender that year. But it's about James Whale, the filmmaker who did Frankenstein and one of your favorites, Invisible Man.
Invisible Man, I love. We watched The Old Dark House last year.
Things. Yeah, great filmmaker, but it's sort of about his sort of behind the scenes story.
That sounds fascinating. Is it kind of like an Ed Wood type thing? Like a
little bit
biopic?
Yeah,
it is. Interesting.
Yeah, Lynn Redgrave also plays a supporting part where she's his like housekeeper, and she's real feisty and everything. So anyway, really great characters. Yeah. Ian McKellen plays James Whale.
No, I could see that being a very cool Steelbook. Does it go into his films at all?
It does.
So you could have like on the Steelbook, you could have like maybe him in the middle, and then like all of his movie characters like around him, and like maybe they slide off, or like you could do that. I think you could have like kind of like around his head, like his ideas and stuff. Yeah. I think you could do that. I think it'd be cool.
It's a fun movie. It's also about him as like a queer filmker at a time where that was like, you didn't really talk about it.
That's crazy.
So there's some extra fun there for intrigue. It's a really good movie.
Sweet.
I recommend you see it. So
I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen it. My first one is a movie that I don't own and I've never seen, but I want to see it. It's called The Impossible. The Impossible is the reason I'm interested in it. 2012 film starring Ewan McGregor and Tom Holland. The reason I'm interested in this movie is because of the director, J.A. Bayona, who has made a couple of my favorite movies. He made A Monster Calls in 2012, which I love, and I would love a Steelbook of that, but I don't think that's a Lionsgate film. And then he also did Society of the Snow last year, which was so good. Amazing. Yeah. Such a good movie.
I don't ever want to watch it.
Yeah, it's one of those, but boy, it was so good. And he has made some stinkers. So you look at it, he's made some other films as well, but I feel like those are like just studio mandate films. Like he made one of the Jurassic World films and stuff. But when he really I feel like when he really is behind a picture, he really nails it. At least those 2 films. And I heard this one's great too. I've seen people talk about it before.
So this is about the tsunami in 2004.
So it's based on a true story. Okay. Which I know of, but I have not seen. But you have seen it.
I don't think I have.
Oh, you don't? Well, see, this is why you got to put it out, Lionsgate, because we want to see this movie.
We need to see it.
And I'm sure there's other releases we could pick up. But if they would put out like a really nice release like this, do something. I think I was talking to Grace about this earlier. She was talking about like the artwork could have like the big wave on the slipcover and pull it
Or you
off.
could
Like,
just crest.
yeah,
the top of
it
yeah.
slides off. Like, this is a really fun topic because you can really kind of think about the artwork and the packaging, which is another angle to look at it. But yeah, I've just wanted to watch this movie for a while. It's a director I really admire, and that would be a great excuse to pick it up if they would put out a really cool release. And I think that one's kind of I think that was nominated too at the time. I think it's got enough acclaim that you could pick it up.
It was up for some. Well, I think that's a kind of. I mean, it's got a little bit of like action to it too. I don't know. I think of Steelbooks. I think of like more popular films that like have something.
I think that one would sell pretty
know.
well. If they did that, I think it would sell pretty well.
Yeah.
It's not like John Wick or anything, but I think it would sell well.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see it. So
Bayona's great. That's a good pick.
get on it, Lionsgate. Yeah, Bayona's awesome.
This movie came out a couple years ago. I think it actually went to streaming because it was during the pandemic, and they were just nothing was coming out theatrically. But I recommend it. Probably people have seen this, maybe not. Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
I know of this. I have not seen it.
Got a great title. It's basically, it feels to me like an extended like SNL sketch because it's Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo. And they play two like Midwestern women who decide to go on a vacation to Florida.
Are they like housewives or mothers?
Yeah, kind of.
Is it kind of like a Thelma and Louise thing where they're just like they want to get away from it all?
It's not that intense, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
but not
it's
like
not that
not
dramatic.
specifically, but it's just kind of like
kind
a
of.
girls' trip.
Yes.
They're just okay.
Well, from what I remember, no. Pandemic is like
But
a
you
fog
enjoyed
to
it,
me.
and
But
it's a very visual.
It was fun, yes.
Like all the releases I've seen of that movie are very bright and colorful, so that could be a cool.
It almost reminds me of like the look of Barbie or something, because it's very there's like an artificiality to it.
Is there any like animated stuff or like special effects?
There very well could be.
So this is why he wants it released, because he wants to refresh his memory.
I need to see it again.
But you remember really enjoying it though.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
My next one is a silly one. I might be the only one that ever would buy this movie. This was kind of a formative movie for me. This was 2009. I was still in high school. This is a high school band movie. Have you ever heard of this?
What?
Band Slam.
Not high school band, like a band in high school.
Yeah. Okay. yeah. It's a coming of age story, which I always loved, especially in high school. I ate up coming of age stories because I was a very shy kid who...
You lived through the movies.
Yeah. I needed to come out of my shell. So this is about a kid who, I think this is a spoiler later in the film, but you don't know why he doesn't have a dad. But you find out later his dad's like in prison because he killed someone while driving drunk. He had like a DUI or something. And so he gets kind of bullied about that. He's got a really rough life, but he escapes through music, just like we escape through movies. Music is his life, and he like... There's this battle of the very generic high school movie. Like there's battle of the bands. He wants to get, in there. He like puts this little band together. It stars like some musicians like Vanessa Hudgens and what's her name? Ali Machaka? I didn't know them at the time. I just knew them from this
after
movie.
my time.
Yeah. It's just like I don't know. It's just like a real wholesome, like, I mean, it does get dark. It's one of those dark movies that still feels wholesome, It's just like, It's just a comfort movie for me.
Okay.
And it does not have a Blu-ray in the States at all.
Wow.
I don't own it because there's no Blu-ray. There's like some international Blu-rays, but we don't have one here. The music is kind of like indie music vibe. Like he's into real like older indie music. It's not like new pop stuff. The actual the final song they sing at Battle of the Bands is a Bread song. The Bread song, I Would Give Everything I Own. Like that's it. But they like do like a real rock version of it with it's almost like ska music. They have trumpets and everything. It's so weird. It's such a weird, quirky like indie movie that
I've never heard of this.
Perfect.
And it sounds wild.
It was perfect for me in high school. I don't think it would sell really well, but I would love it if we could get a cool...
It would sell at least one copy.
Yeah, okay. So put out Band Slam Lionsgate. It's a great investment. But yeah, that's a fun one.
Okay. Going back to 2003.
Oh.
We are going with Girl with a Pearl Earring.
Oh, what is this?
This is really... So my best friend Sharon loves this movie. We went to see it together at the time. Back in the day. And this is a historical film about Vermeer, the Dutch painter. This is completely different than what we just talked about. But it's Scarlett Johansson. I think it was one of the first, I guess not the first thing I saw her in because she was in like Ghost World and some other stuff. But an early like starring role for her.
Home Alone 3 she was in as the kid sister.
This was also the same year as Lost in Translation. So she was kind of like hit
she was big
that year. Yeah. But she's playing the girl in the painting that you've seen with the pearl earring that Vermeer did, and then Colin
with like
Firth,
the headband thing.
With she's got like some sort of rap situation. And then Colin Firth plays the painter, and then there's like Tom Wilkinson's movie.
Colin Firth is always a selling point. He never phones it in.
It's one of those like behind the scenes like art biopic things, which it's okay, but it's this like the way it's shot and the set design, all that stuff is incredible. And I think it's one of the first movies that I heard Alexander Desplat's score.
Ooh, that's another good selling point.
Yeah, so it was
I love
kind of
this
like
stuff. Is that like before he started working with Wes Anderson even? 2003 is
Probably.
early. Yeah.
probably so. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's amazing. I've never heard
Recommend
of
that.
that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I always love art history stuff.
there you go.
Yeah, so we're going all over the place, all over the map with these movies. I didn't mention, but the last one I just talked about, Band Slam, is a Summit release. So like I said, I'm glad you brought up the Summit thing because there's quite a few of these are on Summit's list of movies that they now have the rights to. I was a little worried that they wouldn't have the rights because the buyout of Summit from Lionsgate happened in 2012. And I was like, maybe they don't have the rights to the stuff before 2012. But then I just saw they put out a Steelbook of Red this year, which was 2010. So it seems like all this stuff is fair game. I'm going to pretend like it's fair game. And then my next one is also a Summit film. And I actually do own this one. And it's another one that I don't think anyone likes but me. But it's another high school movie. Same year, 2009.
Somebody must like it or they wouldn't have put it out.
2009 was like where I was just getting into like my own taste. Like, you know, you get to high school and you start like watching different things without your family.
You got to figure out who you are.
Yeah. And I was a big superhero kid, and this is not really a superhero movie, but it's like adjacent. It's about superpowers, but they got them, there was like experiments done during World War II, and then like those genes like spread. It's about all different kinds of psychic. Like there's movers, which is what Chris Evans is in this movie. It's called Push. Chris Evans is a mover, which is basically just a telekinetic. There's watchers who can see the future. There's sniffs who can like touch something and like get the history. It was really cool.
Was this based on a comic book or something?
I don't think so. I think this was just original. It was very strange. It was like really cool. I like the lore of it, where there's all these different kind of powers and it's kind of just like a chase movie. Like they're trying to get Dakota Fanning for some reason. The bad guy's Digimon Hansu, and he's trying to. He's trying to get Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning was big in the late 2000s for some reason. And Chris Evans is in it as well. This is an earlier Chris Evans movie before he had done like all the comic book stuff. He had done Fantastic Four, but he hadn't done Captain America yet. I remember it being a very visually stimulating movie. It's shot completely handheld, which is very like visceral, and there's like the action scenes are like shaking around.
That like urgency to the look of it.
Yeah. And it had a real like mellow, laid back, ethereal soundtrack, all things that high schoolers are very attracted to. I haven't revisited this in a long time, so I don't know how well it would hold up, but I loved it at the time. I would absolutely buy a 4K upgrade. We didn't even talk about that. Most of these are 4Ks, so I would absolutely buy a 4K upgrade of this, and you could do so many cool things with the slipcover. I remember liking that movie a lot. I think it appealed to me a lot in high school. So Push is my number 3.
Okay, this is one of the best movies like of the decade.
Okay.
Of the decade in which it came out, which was the 2000s. This was 2005.
A lot of 2000 stuff. Yeah.
This is a documentary.
Oh.
I don't know if there is a Steelbook
I don't know if they've ever done that.
for a documentary.
That would be cool.
Probably not, but why not, you know?
Sure.
We're thinking outside the box. This is a Werner Herzog movie called Grizzly Man.
Holy crap.
Have you heard of this?
No. I haven't.
It's so good.
What's it about? What's the documentary?
Okay. So it's about a guy, Timothy Treadwell, who went to Alaska to live among grizzly bears. He thought he was like, I don't know, the grizzly bear whisperer or something.
What?
And he lived with them and then eventually
Died?
And so Werner Herzog goes to.
He's
telling his life story essentially.
Are there any like reenactments shot, or is it totally just footage?
Well, no, there's no reenactments, but there's like at some point he had his camera roll. Like Timothy Treadwell was filming himself.
Oh, perfect.
So there's a lot of
some of that
found footage, and there's a scene where, and you don't hear it, but there's like he recorded. The camera was on when he was attacked.
Oh my gosh!
And you don't hear it.
You watch a man actually die.
You
on
actually
camera?
because there's no visual. It's just the sound.
Oh, you hear a man die on camera for real.
Well, they don't play it for you. You watch Werner Herzog listening to it.
Oh my gosh!
Which is enough, because I don't think. I mean, that would
be problematic to show the actual footage.
But it's such an interesting. Werner Herzog is very much about like man and nature and the man's place among.
So it's perfect for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an extension of a lot of his like stuff that he's, like he did that documentary called Burden of Dreams, where he was talking about how the jungle was like this very uninviting place, and nature was basically hell. And anyway, it's a really entertaining, like shocking, like real involving story, and yeah, it's good.
Sure, why not?
I just made it sound really strange, but
do a documentary as a Steelbook.
Grizzly Man.
I would
So
check
good.
it out. My next one is another sci-fi action movie that I like quite a bit, and we've gotten some cool release. I think we just got a digibook release of this, but I would totally buy a 4K Steelbook of this, and you could do some great stuff with the artwork on this. It's 2011's Source Code, which I was telling you about earlier. I don't think you saw this one.
No.
This is basically Groundhog's Day if it were like a sci-fi premise. They're putting his consciousness inside someone on a train right before it blows up so they can figure out who on the train blows up the train. So he
I remember saying
hearing
about this.
So the train will blow up, he'll reset, he'll start back over, he'll look for the guy on the train, then it blows up again. He's just looking for the guy who's looking for the bomber the whole time and trying to solve the mystery. So there's a mystery element, there's a sci-fi element. You actually don't know what's happening. You're in his head. So when he wakes up for the first time, you don't even know what's happening until he finally gets in touch with the people that are doing this to him.
Okay.
Very, very fun movie. It is Duncan Jones, the director of Moon.
Oh,
One of the best sci-fi movies. Yeah. Great movie.
Okay.
And then he went on to do like Warcraft and Mute, which don't really have great glowing reviews. I haven't seen those, but I really like Moon and I really like Source Code. I have the Blu-ray here. This is what the Blu-ray looks like, but I would love a 4K upgrade. This is just kind of standard Summit Blu-ray. You can do so many cool things with the slipcover because he's not really a hologram, but like he's in the computer, and then when it degenerates away, you see just like the room that his body is actually in. So you could do something on the cover where he's like there on the train, and then
there you go.
you slide it away, and then you can see the room behind it and stuff like that.
You're putting thought into this.
I think it would be really cool. I think it looks so cool. I loved the movie. It's actually Jake Gyllenhaal and Michelle Monaghan. Michelle Monaghan, for some reason, was like the love interest in sci-fi movies for my whole high school. Like she was in that one called Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf. Did you ever see that one? Like she was just. I just knew her as love interest woman in sci-fi movies for a long time.
Was she in like a Tom Cruise movie at some point? Was she in Mission Impossible?
She's in one of the Mission Impossibles.
I'm thinking of.
She comes back. I think she comes back in 6. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's a real adrenaline rush movie, very similar to Push, which I just got. So those two together, high school DJ inside me would be very, very happy if we get those. So get on it. That's another Summit release, Lionsgate. I know you got the rights to it. Make it happen. All right, what's your last one here? We'll throw out 5 each.
We're flying through this.
Yeah, we're making good time.
You might like this one.
Okay, I'm sure I will.
It's kind of like Gods and Monsters, kind of full circle here. It's from 2000.
Oh.
And this is with John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe and some other people, but it's Shadow of the Vampire.
Is this the one that this is like Gods and Monsters? I just found out about this movie recently.
Kind of.
On Reddit, people were saying that this needs a release. Doesn't even have a Blu-ray release at all.
No, I'm not surprised. I have a DVD somewhere.
So this is about it's like a fictionalized production of Nosferatu, right? So I guess it's like a fantastical interpretation of what happened. So basically you follow Efter Murnau, the director, as he goes there to film, and he hires Max Schreck, who is Willem Dafoe, to play Nosferatu. Crazy. And then it's like, is he or is he not actually a vampire? And he sort of plays into, so it's kind of playing with this. Yes, that sounds amazing. I almost brought this up when you were talking about Gods and Monsters. I was like, that, because I brought up Ed Wood, and I was like, that kind of reminds me of this one, but I didn't know the name of it. So it's called Shadow of the Vampire.
Shadow of the Vampire.
And that sounds amazing.
I mean, I haven't seen it in 20 years, but I'm pretty sure it holds up, right? It was great.
Willem Dafoe as Max Schreck is enough for me. That sounds amazing.
He was chewing the scenery. It was great. He got an Oscar nomination for that, too.
That's awesome. Very, very visually arresting movie. Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Put that on my list. I've never even seen it. All right, I'll throw out my last one. This is another movie that I love.
But I've actually seen this one.
Okay, good. We can actually talk about one that we both have seen. I love this movie. I think it kind of came and went for most people, but it really did a number on me in 2011. I didn't see it till after that. It's 50-50, and we just have kind of a crappy release of it. So I would love a much more beefed up. And they do just standard dramas sometimes. Like we got this one for Wonder, which looks wonderful. No pun intended. Like it looks amazing. So I think they would do something like this. I think 50-50 would work. It kind of looks like a comedy the way they sold it, but it gets real serious, real dark. It's about, what's his face? Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He gets cancer at a very young age. And some of you know this. I also got cancer when I was 21. I got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I remember this movie I saw it after, and this was the most realistic depiction of cancer. I'd seen other cancer movies, and they always dramatize it and make it like they make it silly sometimes, at least in my opinion. This one actually was very, very realistic, and it worked. It worked for me quite a bit. I had a very similar situation to him. I got diagnosed in my 20s. I think he's supposed to be maybe early 30s, maybe late 20s, but his best friend is Seth Rogen. He has a lot of stuff going on. I didn't have a girlfriend at the time, but he's got like a girlfriend, Bryce Dallas Howard, who's like can't deal with it well, and she kind of like all kinds of stuff goes on there. But it was a lot of fun, and it is funny in places.
I was gonna say it is a comedy, sort of.
Dramedies, I guess what they call it, where it starts out funny and then it kind of gets more serious as it goes along. Obviously, when he gets the diagnosis and it goes down. But yeah, just really well done movie. And I don't remember who directed. Jonathan Levine.
Well, somebody behind the scene, I guess the writer maybe? Is it like kind of his story?
Oh, really? That makes sense.
There's some true story element to this. So
this one felt really authentic, very real. And I liked it quite a bit. And I would absolutely buy a steelbook of that if they put that out.
So the slip is him with no hair? And then
no, his hair's on the slip, and then when you pull the slip off, he's bald underneath. It's perfect.
It's
perfect. Do it. What else would you do? That's amazing. Seth Rogen's there behind him. There's an iconic scene where he has to shave his head because his hair's falling out. And that happened to me too. I never shaved my head, but the chemo did make my hair start falling out. I just started wearing beanies and hats all the time. But yeah, it's a very, very good movie. I highly recommend 50/50.
It's really good.
It's great. Yeah. Any honorable mentions real quick you want to throw out?
Well, I guess kind of related to that in the same ish situation is The Big Sick. That was another movie that came up on my list.
Yes.
It's not about cancer, but
I should have pulled that down. That's another dark comedy. It kind of starts out as a comedy and gets more serious as it goes along.
Yeah.
I actually have this one. I just grabbed it off the shelf, The Big Sick. So it is Kumail Nanjiani and Zoe Kazan. And you said this one's also based off like true story.
It's about, so did he write it with, Emily Gordon. So Kumail Nanjiani, I don't know if they're married or partners or what.
So it's his story.
It was kind of their true story. And so they wrote it together.
It was awesome. There's a lot of really cool like social commentary there about like interracial couples and stuff. Ray Romano and Holly Hunter. I still remember that. That scene is amazing. Where Ray Romano they're at the cafeteria and Ray Romano brings up like, so what's your thoughts about 9/11? And it's the most awkward, cringe-inducing scene.
But it's like they kind of just started dating and they didn't, they weren't that close yet. I don't think they had really met each other's family and all that stuff. So it's kind of like that they're going through that while at the same time. Yeah.
But this one focuses on the relationship, whereas that one is kind of him overcoming that whole thing. So great pick.
So that's a good one.
I will throw out a couple honorable mentions here. One of them is one of Grace, my wife's favorite movies. She showed this to me when we were dating. I still remember the night that we watched this. It's Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is another
people love that movie.
Very serious subject matter movie. There's some I don't want to give it away because that's kind of the whole point of the movie, and it's a reveal in the last act. But Perks of Being a Wallflower, that's a very early Ezra Miller performance where that's where he kind of got big. And it's also got Emma Watson.
Logan Lerman probably wasn't doing much.
Yeah, Logan Lerman. This is a very, very early one for both of them. So that's a good drama movie. And then I'm also going to throw out Eddie the Eagle.
That's fun.
Just another really fun movie with Hugh Jackman and Taron Egerton. And it's just like a sports movie. It's like a fun, like he's really determined to be this like ski jumper.
Is it a true story?
I think so. I think it's based on a true story. It's like an Olympic. He wants to go to the Olympics and he picks ski jumping, and then for some reason Hugh Jackman is his coach, and it's just a fun movie. It's one of those ones that I never bought, but I enjoyed watching, and if there was a cool release of it, I'd probably buy it. Yeah. And then the last honorable mention, I put it in the honorable mentions, even though it's one of my favorite movies of all time, because I don't need it. I already have the Criterion edition, and it's a lovely edition. But if they wanted to put out a cool release, I would probably be a sucker and double dip and pick it up, because I love Day Trippers, but I already have it. So.
Another one they also did on Criterion was Amores Perros, which is the Mexican film from Alejandro Iñárritu, which is like his breakout movie from 2000, 2001, something like that. Yeah, which is really good. Like Mexico City, kind of 3 stories happening at once, all revolving around dogs.
That's a good linchpin.
So good, but it just came out on Criterion, so I guess we're good for now.
That's a pretty iconic Criterion too. Like I always see that one every time I go to the Barnes & Noble. So there's lots of stuff you could do Lionsgate. I don't know how well any of these make sense business-wise, but we would love them, and I would definitely pick all these up if you put these out. You could do some really cool stuff with the packaging. Let us know, guys, in the comments what your picks would be. I'm sure, there's a long list. We just picked some of our favorites. Let us know which ones if you were in charge of putting out some Lionsgate Steelbooks, which ones you would do, and we'll talk to you down in the comments below. Thanks so much again for joining me. Look at this. Look at this.
That's almost a handshake. Try that again?
We can, there we go. We'll make up our own handshake.
Yeah, it's one of those.
It was great having you on. I love talking movies with you, as always. And we're about to do a live stream right after this.
I got like 5 more movies to watch.
I don't know how well high school DJ's movies will translate to middle-aged John, but you could try it. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, keep collecting, and we'll be back with another one real soon.